Hello again, YouTube. It's the middle of January, so it's a bit cold here, even though I got the heater on, so got this jacket. In my previous video, I talked about the concept of learning, so I thought it might be a good idea to talk about something more practical this time. Specifically, what should you learn? There was this guy named Stefan Krashen, and I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but he came up with the concept of input plus one. So what does that mean? That means that optimal learning takes place when you're learning something that's just one step outside of what you already know. So it's basically a fancy way of saying you should step outside your comfort zone, just not too far. I think this is pretty intuitive. I mean, if you're just studying what you already know, you're not really learning, are you? In order to grow, you've got to stretch a bit. So in practical terms, what does this mean? Well, let's say you're just starting out learning a language. Rather than, say, trying to watch movies and follow along with what they're saying, you should probably start at something more basic, things like greetings, or saying thank you, or saying sorry. So let's say you already know how to ask someone where they're from. So you know they're going to say something like, I'm from Australia, or I'm from Malaysia. Well, think about what would follow that up. You might want to ask, oh, where exactly in Malaysia are you from? Or how long have you been here, or are you traveling? Well, if those are things you don't know how to say, that would be that input plus one idea. So really, basically, you don't want to just focus on stuff you already know, but at the same time, you don't want to go too far out of that comfort zone and spend a lot of time learning just one little point. Instead, build off what you already know. Okay, but this is not to knock review at all. Review is really important. In fact, there was this linguist named Pitt Corder who compared learning language to learning tennis. And I think that's a really good analogy for several reasons. One is it kind of illustrates how important review and practice are. You know, you don't want to be thinking all the time about every single word and sentence you make. You want some of that stuff to come automatically, and in order for it to do that, you do have to review. Also, like tennis, learning a language is very interactive, and you do have to react sometimes. You know, in tennis, the ball is just coming at you, and in a conversation, people are speaking, and they're not necessarily going to give you a lot of time to think about how to respond. So practice is really important for ingraining those habits. Okay, so if you're just starting out as a language learner, start really basic. Pick up some simple vocabulary, you know, how to say computer, how to say table, how to say pen, how to say go. If you're a more advanced learner, you want to use your imagination to think about the language you already know and what would be the next logical step. You know, where would the conversation go next, and do you know how to say that? So the two conditions to know if the way you're learning is effective is, number one, can you still remember what you learned? If not, maybe you're taking on too much, or maybe you're taking on things that are a little too difficult for right now. Number two, are you able to transfer what you learn into actual situations? In other words, when you have the opportunity to use the language you know, are you able to do it? Are you able to do it effectively? If so, you're probably learning really well. If not, you might want to go back and look at what you're learning or how you're learning it. Okay, cool. I hope that this video was useful for you. And as usual, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below or shoot me a message. If this video was useful, please click like and subscribe. I'll be back next week to talk about some simple types of learning and how they'll be useful to you. Hope to see you then.